Good morning. Can you hear me? Good morning. My name is Roland McCook. And this is how we traditionally start our our ceremonies. We traditionally start with an honor song of some sort or prayer song as we go. It's most appropriate here because it has been hundreds and some years before the walls of this canyon has ever heard the drums again. So once again, the drums come here and resound against the walls. This is something really, really special to me to hear the drum where it used to be almost daily. We honor the indigenous people, the people that used to live here prior to us. We dedicate this morning to that, and as a symbol of the dedication, we have a plaque. We have in our presence the Southern Ute, Ute Mountain Ute, as well as the Northern Ute, to come here and observe. And all of you others here, we appreciate you being here to see once again recognition of the Native Americans who live in this area.
We're really honored to have our tribal chairs and representatives here at this gathering, and we're very excited about the day today. It's a chance both for healing and for education so we can understand each other a little better.
Sometimes it's hard to say I'm sorry, especially when you know that you can't right the wrong that you've done. So I really appreciate the efforts of Art Goodtimes and Roland McCook to work together. Art has extended an apology to the Utes, and Roland has responded with a willingness to go through the 5-step process of forgiveness. And today is an honor of that. We could never give the Utes back their land, but through this process, perhaps we can learn more about each other, and through that, come to an understanding of forgiveness. To the people who came before us, the Nooch, who traversed the San Juans without hindrance and occupied these mountains for as long as stories have been told, they and their families utilized the resources as needed. They did not take for granted the streams, valleys, and ridges as they followed the deer, elk, and mighty bighorn sheep. The women and girls laughed and giggled as they gathered berries and prepared food as homemakers, and the men provided protection and food as hunters. Silver and gold was discovered in 1871 in the San Juan region. Thus began the negotiations between the Nooch and the U.S. government. This resulted in the removal of the Uncompahgre and White River Utes to Utah. We, the people of Colorado, will always remember the Nooch, who lived in harmony in this beautiful environment. Thank you.
It's great to see all of you here today to recognize what is going, this plaque, this monument that is being put up, and to recognize and to forgive the things that have happened in the past and the things that we accept today. But also, we know that this place here is to be remembered, the starting place of forgiveness. And the mountains here, with the spirit of the mountains, will be heard of all the things that have been said today. So on behalf of my people, the Southern Ute Indian tribe, formerly known as the Kaputas and Mamochi bands, we appreciate this time given to us by Mr. Cook and Mr. Goodtimes for allowing us to be here, to be part of this ceremony. We also know that things like this will always be with the Utes. Will there be forgiveness from the Utes? We will see. It's been many years that we have struggled through many things, but we have always been part of this country, part of this state of Colorado.
Good morning, everyone. Mike Wiln, to which the lach, Chikav Yuja, Nuch Nikakaiktat, Pupa Mais Pagane, Marpupunchi, Marguevi, to which Rupaga, to which Aprugaiga, Maguawat Noke. So with that, I just welcome my relatives in having us come back home as we talk about the songs and the drum and speaking Ute. These mountains haven't heard Ute in a long time, as was mentioned. My name is Manuel Hart. I'm the chairman for the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. I have Councilwoman Regina Whiteskunk with me. And we're here to be with you in what's going on today in the dedication here in Placerville, in Telluride, and up in the mountain village. But we as the Ute people used to have a lot in our tribe. Today we're only 6,500 enrolled members of all 3 Ute tribes. Our land base is not what it used to be, but we are still considered today the oldest living resident, probably in the state of Colorado and Utah. Our tribe has some land in New Mexico. Our Aboriginal lands did go into New Mexico. Northern part of New Mexico, 2/3 of Colorado, and half of Utah. That was our Aboriginal lands. And we're a nomadic tribe, so we traveled these mountains, and we knew every area that we could go through as family when we visited throughout the year, based on season. We followed the game and knew all the areas where to get fruits and vegetables and medicine when people were sick. The beginning of the year is spring. That's when we celebrate our bear dance. And that's open to the public. And then we have our sun dance. Then we're also part of Native American Church as part of the organization that helps in the traditional ways of singing song and sitting in a teepee or roundhouse all night and praying to our Creator. We give thanks for everything that our Creator has given us. As a mountain people, this is where we were, this is our home. And just recognizing that today and the apologies, there's things that come to heart is respect, trust, humility, and just knowing the honesty of what people feel in their hearts and their minds. The longest road you'll travel is from your heart to your mind. It's not in miles, but it's what you feel in your heart. There's not a lot of people here today, but I thank each and every one of you for coming. And the other 2 events that will happen today is just the beginning of what's going on. We have many challenges as tribes across this country, all 567 of them that are federally recognized. But there's more that are not recognized. And there are over 600 in Canada. They all each are individually separate and sovereign in their own way. As Roland talked about the apology from the United States and what Australia did and other countries and what they did to the Aboriginal people. So with that, I just want to say on behalf of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, thank you. Thank you very much for what you did today in recognizing the Ute people with this and what we'll be recognizing with the 2 other events today. So with that, thank you.
My name is Regina Lopez Whiteskunk, and I just want to say one thing that my dad had mentioned to me long ago. He said, make this statement so the ancestors can hear you. Mike Wanuchu! That wasn't for you. That's so they can come and invite my ancestors into this day, back into these mountains. Because many times we know, as I learned yesterday, we pass through this road, but we rarely stop along the way. And I thank you all for doing what you're doing throughout this weekend, because it forced me to stop. And I truly want to say thank you for taking care of this area. Many of you may have came out and you've had families that have homesteaded the area. Maybe some of you have just came out and moved very recently. But irregardless, we're all good stewards of the land. My people were great stewards of the land before anybody came out to settle the region. So when these hills hear our language spoken, it's a warm welcome home. And many times we just pass through here without a thought, without a breath. And all that's happened through these last several years in the attempt to resolve and to heal from this is exactly what our people have always needed to do, and that we continue to do. We can't get our reservations, we can't increase the lands back in the size that we would like to, but we'd like to know that we can always stop along the way And we'd like to thank each and every one of you for allowing for this. I thank Roland for all the hard work he's done over the last several years. I've grown up traveling these roads, but have never really taken the time to enjoy what's in my yard, because sometimes we carry some of that hurt and pain that you just want to get from here to there as quick as you can. These mountains are beautiful. These trees are great. And so many times we as Native tribes have to put our best foot forward and try to protect all that once was. And through some of that, many of us have joined endeavors. I see that we have some signs to the left of us regarding the Dakota Access Pipeline. And the one thing that they're working so hard to protect is the quality of water for a better quality of life from today into the future. Yet when we go over across the road, what do we get to see? We get to see water, clean water. We hear it, we smell it. It's something that's very sacred to us. So again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity, and utmost thank you for allowing me to stop.
This dedication for the work that Roland has done and our tribal council, the Utes coming together again in a place where we used to travel, meet, talk about things, share experiences with. Before I continue, my name's Hanley Frost Sr. I am the Sundance Chief for the Mohawk Kapoti people. And each one of these individuals that are here, I come from part of that tribe. My dad was Uinta. My mom was Rimanuch, Mohawk Kapoti. So all three of these bands run through my blood. And it's an honor for me to stand here today, to be in, like it was expressed, in the mountains where the Utes lived, where we hunt, shared many things, shared many ceremonies, sang many songs here. So today's a good day. Thank the Creator for this day. I'd like to say, tutve akchem, tuas moas Israel, eyu bats. The moon vas bagan it is my bits, chiggy bats, moon nick and chain the book to say, waste back, Mike and say, Creator. So again, thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your lives to come in here today and sharing what you can from your heart, what you're witnessing with your eyes this day. So, yeah, my name is Mike and today. Thank you.
The notion of an apology was born by the White Buffalo Society in Colorado Springs. This group decided and taken upon itself as a nonprofit organization that we should have an apology from the United States, the President of the United States, just as Australia and Canada has done. So they petitioned the President to do this, and he refused. And so the next thing they did was put together a bill and had one of the congressional people sponsor it, and it was denied. And so what they did was put it as a rider in one of the bills, and very clever, they put it as a rider for a public apology by the United States in with the federal military spending. And it passed. Can you believe that? So it is law. It's been signed into law that apology is there, but the President has not made it official nor public, and he's just mentioned it as being a part of the bill that was passed. And so the next thing that White Buffalo did was they went to the United Nations with that bill and asked them to consider it and to give a response. A year later, they did, and they gave a response to the President of the United States that he should. That was their determination that he should give that as a public apology for all of the years that our people endured during those early years. But he has said the United States does not answer to the United Nations, so that's not going to come. So what the communities have done instead of that is to take it upon themselves and to do what they can do with the resources that they have and the people that they have to go move forward with an apology. And Art Goodtimes has taken that very seriously, and he's come this far in doing what he thinks, and I've been assisting him. And so far, he went to the Ute Nation in Fort Duchesne, where he stood in front of over 100 people, tribal members, who came to his meeting. I gave the outline, and Art gave the apology, stood before the crowd and said, "I'm sorry." See, sorry in a verbal way is like the wind. It goes away just as you said it. But you have to show significance to it. You have to have something substantial. And in their own ways, communities have done that. Ophir has one that we dedicated something like 11 years ago. And now this one. And as we move east, the town of Ouray dedicated a bust of Chief Ouray. We dedicated that. Alfred was there too to provide the songs. And we moved to Carbondale, or Montrose. Montrose has dedicated a park that they developed, and I named it Taviwatch Park. And you go further over to Carbondale. Carbondale has dedicated a riverfront, which was an eagle sanctuary, and I named it the Nooch Park, and it is dedicated to the Nooch. And so different communities are voluntarily doing what they can with what they have to say, "I'm sorry," because to say it is only, as I said, like the wind. It goes away. And so in their ways, that's what we're doing. And what the apology entails and contains to us Native Americans is the history that we have where manifest destiny has carried out. People say, "Get over it. It happened hundreds of years ago." But we would, as Native Americans, but it's happening today in different ways. You see the signs over here in a form of way it's happening there. But really, the real serious intent of that is the years where the government intended to educate us. And so they built these schools on reservation lands called boarding schools. In the boarding schools, our children were subject to the administrators and all of the personnel that were involved in running those schools. There are today hundreds of people my age that attended those boarding schools and are scarred for life from abuse, daily abuse, and they are suffering mentally because of those. But they walk around believing that that was just in the past, but it's really something that has devastated hundreds of Native Americans who attended boarding school, and other ways that we have been abused. Today, I'll give you several examples. In the campaigns, they say that we can't move hundreds of people and deport hundreds of people. That has never been done before. Oh, yes, it has. Native Americans were deported from their ancestral lands, hundreds, and removed to different parts of the country. So that has been done before. They say this is the worst mass shooting that's ever happened in the United States. No. Mass shootings started way back in Indian history. So you see, we have suffered a lot through history, our Native Americans. And so the apology that we ask for is not a trivial thing. It has a meaning, a deep meaning to us. And that's what we are. We are a people, nooch. When we say nooch to one another, which is the word, it's to address a person of substance, a person that has feelings, the four mysterious things that come from your heart. Hope, faith, and love. It's like the sunshine, the wind, and the rain. It is a constant force. It's unexplainable. But see, that's what a nooch is. A nooch is a man that has all of these embodied within his physical body. And that's where we come from. And when we say an apology, that's what it would entail, is all of those ingredients that I just outlined. And it's not trivial to us. It means all of that. the removals, the massacres, the boarding schools, the days that my parents suffered with being watched as you go to a grocery store and trailed around. Those are demeaning things, you know, and even today, there's some of that still happening. But we, as a proud people, Native Americans, we will withstand and we will walk tall. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.